One of the most important things for you to understand how to do in PhoneBurner is importing your contacts. Because if you don't have your data in PhoneBurner, who are you going to call? Certainly not Ghostbusters, right? Anyway, on this video, I'm going to give you a quick little overview of how to import your contacts into PhoneBurner. So when you're logged into your PhoneBurner account, from the Contact Manager, you're going to click on the Import button in the upper left-hand portion of the screen. From here, you'll either drag a file from your computer or click the Browse Your Files button to go find the file that you want to import. Once you've selected that file, you're going to be immediately moved on to step 2. That's the step where you map the data from your file to the specific fields in PhoneBurner. And in some cases, the PhoneBurner system will automatically match the fields from your file to the fields in PhoneBurner. For example, you'll see that my sample file has a column header for character first and character last. That's been interpreted by PhoneBurner as the first name and the last name for the contacts to be imported. I can also preview the data from my file that would be imported into any one of these specific fields. Now, if PhoneBurner hasn't mapped things appropriately for you, you can, of course, make adjustments right here on the fly. You can set one to Do Not Import, and then you can map that to another field if you'd like. And if there's any data in your file that you want to import, but for whatever reason PhoneBurner doesn't have a field that matches, no big deal. You can always create a new custom field on the fly during the import. For example, I don't have a website field, so I'm going to create one and map the data from my file to that new field. And of course, there are different field types that you can choose from. So if, for example, this one needs to be a checkbox, I can create a checkbox field. This one's a date field. I can choose a date field. Anyway, once you've mapped all of the data here, you can move on to the next step. And now we need to decide how we're going to organize this data in our PhoneBurner account. First thing we need to choose is what folder this data should be in. We can, of course, import this into a folder that we've already created, or we could create a new folder right now. Now, in our specific example, I'm going to go ahead and use my campaign calls folder. Now we need to make a few other decisions, like do we want to tag these contacts? Do we want these contacts to show up in a specific saved search? In this particular case, I'm not going to worry about that. Lead source. This is very important in my opinion, and I'd highly recommend that you always use a lead source for all of your data when you import it. So I'm going to go ahead and create a lead source. That way I can track how effective any one particular lead source is compared to another. I can also scrub for duplicates based off of email or phone number. If I am scrubbing for duplicates, I can choose if I want to skip the data being imported or if I want to update the match contact in PhoneBurner. And then finally, I can choose whether or not I want to scrub this against my DNC list. Now, this is my PhoneBurner DNC list, not a national DNC list or anything like that. And then I'm going to go ahead and hit Next. I can preview what's about to be imported minus the custom fields, and then I can click Yes, Please Import. The system will now start processing my file. We can move on if we want, but here you can see it's now completed. 88 new contacts have been created in my account. If I click on View Imported Contacts, I'll be taken to the Contact Manager to view that specific list that I just imported. So anyway, that's a quick little overview of how you can start importing your contacts into your PhoneBurner account. Now it's time for you to take a moment and import your first file into your PhoneBurner account. Once that's completed, come back, mark this step as completed, and move on to the next step.